Hi everyone, it's Rachel Britton here. I'm just going to get this all set up. We are on day 15 of 21 for Holiday Hopes and Dreams, how to survive the holiday seasons during this pandemic. So I'm just going to load this up. So if anyone joins, please let me know, say hi. Say hi as you jump on and let me know you're here. Otherwise, if you're catching the replay, let me know on the replay as well. But today, I thought I'm kind of coming up with topics now as we go because I ran out. So if you guys have any other ideas of what you would like to learn about ways to manage your emotions or anything like that during this time, let me know if I didn't hit on something. But today I was working with somebody and we were talking about just what it's like to have to manage other people's emotions, and especially during a time like this. So kids are home now. They're having to, my client is having to figure out how to tolerate her kids meltdowns as they're getting frustrated with school, and like how she can manage like her frustrations. And something that we were talking about was how it's so easy to take on other people's emotions. Now, I firsthand know this because I am super like that empath of feeling other people's emotions. I feel it right away. And it's so easy for me to take on other people's emotions. Like the moment someone else is feeling anxious, I start to feel anxious. Or like if my kids are struggling, I feel like I start to struggle. Or if my husband is feeling a certain way, I pick that up really quick. And what I have found is that when I pick up other people's emotions, that's actually when I become more emotional or more vulnerable to my own emotions, and I have a harder time managing my own emotions. So we were talking about it, and she had shared how it's kind of like she was talking about a snow globe, and she feels like when her kids get frustrated, all of a sudden their snow globe explodes. And it made me seriously think about how the other day, yesterday, I decided to make these ornaments with my kids. Now, I thought it was a great idea to like, put a little funnel and then these little styrofoam pellets or whatever they are in there. Well, let me tell you, it turned out to be a mess, right? And so this little thing ended up exploding, got all over the floor, and it took forever to clean up. And these things, they are very staticky. And so you would go and sweep it up and then it would stick to you. And then you would get that off and then you'd find it somewhere else. And it was like a huge mess. Ryan actually came up and was like, "What's going on?" What did Emma say? She said, "Don't worry," or don't ask. That's what she said. She's like, "Don't ask." And Ryan just was like, "Okay." And he just kept going. In that moment, he was actually able to disconnect from the mess that we had going on and kind of keep going and focusing on whatever he was focusing on. And so it just kind of made me think of that situation, because she's right. Like inside, we have all of this stuff going on when we're starting to feel anxious. And if something happens, like the tunnel falls or it's getting stuck and it's not filling up, these get all over and it just explodes. And when we're around other ones that are having high emotions, especially during this time of isolation, we are at our prime of feeling emotional because we're all in the same place, seeing each other all the time. We're not being able to socialize, go out and do other things, take our breaks with other people. Like it's a very emotional time, and it's easy to take on other people's emotions, to take on all of these pellets that they have going on, and then what we get is a big mess. And so her and I were talking about like what that would be like to no longer take on someone else's pellets, no longer take on someone else's emotions in a situation. And so what I wanted to share with you guys is one way to do that is to recognize that their behaviors is not a reflection of who you are. I'm going to say that again. their behaviors are not a reflection of who you are or what your worth is. Okay, this is important because what happens is a lot of times we take other people's emotions, what they're doing, and then we take it on as our own, and we feel like we're so connected with them that it's a reflection of who we are, a reflection of our worth. And really, their emotions are just a response to the emotion that they're having. Like their behaviors are just a response to the emotion they're feeling, right? So if they're feeling overwhelmed, like think about your kiddos that are doing schoolwork. If they're getting overwhelmed or frustrated, they might have a meltdown. That's their way of expressing that they're upset or they're frustrated. And so if we can start taking a step back and being like, okay, what's going on inside of them? Not like what's going on, it's like, like being more aware of, okay, they might be feeling anxious because they are not understanding that problem. It gives us a little bit of time to like to separate, to kind of see like what's going on. Has this exploded all over, or is it kind of still intact? And we're able to help the other person a lot better if we don't take on their emotions. So another thing that we were talking about is what happens if you already took on some of their emotions and you're starting to feel anxious and overwhelmed. Take a break, separate yourself. Just like my husband did when my daughter was like, don't ask. He didn't. He just kept going. And that helped him get on track with whatever he was doing after that. Because we, like really we just had to clean it up and we had to like put everything away and, vacuum it and whatnot. And it was fine afterwards. Now, there's still remnants of these little pellets, don't tell Ryan, but there's actually a ton in our couch right now. And so they're still there. And just like with your kids, they're still going to feel frustrated. They're still going to have those emotions. But what we can do is and not just kids, like it could be a partner, it could be a friend, it could be your roommate. What we need to do sometimes is we need to let other people cool down. We need to allow them some time to put all these pellets back into their ornament. That's what this is. But for them to recollect so that we can approach them and have a conversation. So I know that's kind of like I don't know, this visual is something that really connected with me when we were talking about it. But I think it's just really important to recognize that other people's behaviors are not a reflection of who we are. It's a reflection of how they're managing their emotion. And sometimes people don't know how to manage their emotions effectively. And so we don't have to take that on as a piece of our worth of how they respond. But also if they're responding in a way that is not healthy or not effective, you don't have to jump in and try to save it either. You can let them cool down. You can let them figure out how to get into a place where they had a chance to kind of like pull their emotions in or figure out what's going on for them, and then you can reapproach them. So a little space, a little time, that's absolutely okay, as long as you're returning to it. I think that's the most important thing, is that we can't avoid everything forever. We do have to eventually come back and check in, but it's okay to have a little space before you check in. So that was what I wanted to share today. So just kind of, I want you guys just to kind of think about like whose emotions are you taking on? How are you letting other people's behaviors affect you? Because again, we don't have buttons that people push, or people can trigger us, they can frustrate us, right? But at the end of the day, we are the one that makes the choice of how we respond to something. And so we have to own our own responses, just like they have to own their responses. So I hope everyone has a wonderful night. If you guys have any other ideas, we have a few more days to fill for the 21 days. I have a couple more people that are going to share, but otherwise I have about 3 more days worth of topics. So if you have an idea of a topic you'd like to hear about, let me know. Have a great night.